Hey y'all, welcome to Fitting in Homemaking. Today we are going to be looking at the month of August and reviewing my budget and seeing how I did for my low spend year last month. If you'd like an overview of the series, please go ahead, pop down into the description. I have linked the playlist there. The January video has more of a background on why I'm doing this and kind of the rules that I'm following and all that sort of thing. For additional context, I did pay off my car in April. Spoiler alert, that was the goal. But because I took the money out of savings to pay that off, now my goal for the low spend year is to pay myself back and transfer that money to my savings. So let's take a look at how I did in August for my low spend year. For August, our total household expenses were $5,759.79, which feels very expensive. Ouch. That includes our mortgage and escrow, our internet, car insurance, pet insurance, groceries, electricity, natural gas, water, sewer, phone lines, all the utilities, our HOA. We do have an Amazon Prime subscription, and then the expenses for the kids like healthcare, diapers, daycare, right? And daycare was about $27.50 this month total. So I've realized as I was walking Max this morning around the neighborhood that when I do these videos, for some reason I always itemize the daycare cost, even though I do not tell you guys kind of like the buckets of how much other things cost for privacy purposes. And I kind of just wondered, why am I doing that? That seems like a little bit odd. And I think it's partly because it is like very, very expensive. It is a huge bill, right? But also I think it's because when I say our total household expenses for the month, and that falls somewhere between $5,000 and $6,000 a month, that also just seems absolutely astronomical to me. Maybe that's just because I know what I used to make, like at the time that I bought the house, and that I was able to support myself on my own salary, which at the time was quite a bit lower than it is now. So that amount each month, the $5,000 to $6,000 each month, which let's be honest, it's creeping up closer to $6,000 more often than not. I absolutely could not afford that on my own. And to me, that's kind of scary. But I absolutely don't have to afford it on my own, right? My partner and I both work full-time. My husband and I both work full-time. I don't know if he would like me calling him my partner in that context, but anyhow, my husband and I both work full-time, so we can afford the $5,000 to $6,000 a month. Do we like being having to afford that? No, because he and I are in agreement that we should be living well below our means. And with that daycare bill, we are like at our means, right? And that's part of the reason why I did this low spend year, because I had that car payment looming over me, and it was a 7-year loan, right? And I had this October, let me see. Yes, this October I will have had the car for 5 years. Not 5 years, I'm sorry, for 3 years. I was thinking it's 2025. For 3 years, I will have had that car. And like a 3-year loan to me seems like reasonable for a car, right? But knowing that I had that payment for 7 more years was just a little bit daunting, knowing that I'm just kind of barely scraping by each month, right? So yeah, I think maybe it's to comfort myself that I'm saying what the daycare costs, because I know without that one large bill, like for example, this month, our household expenses were around $57.60 and daycare was $27.50 of that. So without that one bill, we'd be around $3,000 a month for our expenses. And if something happened where we had to go down to a one income situation, you know, like either it was job loss or like someone got injured and was out of work and we ran out of paid leave or something like that, like we would be able to afford that if either my husband was working or I was working. Right, so I think it's to kind of like calm my anxiety a little bit that I tell you guys that. Also just a little bit of awareness of how much childcare costs. But more to just remind myself that this is a temporary bill and that we will not be living at our means for a significantly long amount of time, right? Because our goal is to live below our means, like well below our means, because that's where we feel the most comfortable. So yeah, after next year, my daughter will be aging out of daycare, and we're looking at options, unpaid school options, essentially, would be a way to say that. And so it won't have the daycare bill. It'll probably be about 40% off the daycare bill just because of how their pricing structure works. But yeah, that's going to be a relief. So I think that's partially why I say it out loud. So back to the finances. Apologize for the side quest there, but it really got me to thinking earlier, like, why am I mentioning this one bill? And I think it is really just to give myself peace of mind, to remind myself this is temporary, like it's this significant chunk of those household expenses, and we will be moving back down to a more comfortable budgetary place soon, I guess. So yeah, that's the big household picture. My part of the household expenses this month was $2,879.90. For my personal expenses this month, I spent exactly $61 on gas, which was pretty cool. Well, I mean, not cool. It'd be great to spend no dollars on gas, but that's not how the world works. So that was 2 tanks of gas for me. I spent $350.12 on necessary expenses, all of which revolved around my car. It was a car service, the inspection required by the state, renewing my tags, and paying my property taxes on the car. I spent $10 on gifts, and I also spent $55.37 on fun stuff, which essentially was just little food treats here and there for myself. And I know that's what I'm trying to cut down on spending, but I'm actually pretty proud of myself for that last item, because I was really trying to buckle down this month, knowing that my household expenses were going to be higher and that my car expenses were going to be higher this month. So I'm pretty happy with that, because I find when I go absolutely cold turkey with no fun money, that's very difficult to do when I've been used to not doing that. And I think keeping it around $50 a month is reasonable, because then I don't, like, if I'm having a really bad day and I've just not prepared or brought enough food with me to work or something like that, I can go out and get a snack and not feel like trash for going out and getting something, right? Excuse me, I have allergies, I'm coughing a lot, so there's going to be a little bit of choppy editing here, so apologies. But all of my personal expenses together were $476.49. The grand total of my household and my personal expenses together came to $3,356.39. My take-home pay this month was $3,761.20. That's pretty much going to be standard until whenever the state passes a budget, and accepting my longevity pay that I will get in my September paycheck. But for now, that's what we know we're getting paid. So my income less my expenses this month was $404.81. I transferred that money into my savings account to help build it back up, and honestly, I'm pretty happy with that amount. I thought I was kind of going to be just squeaking by this month with the extra car expenses. The household expenses were a little bit higher, and just I'm happy with having about $400 to transfer over. That felt pretty good, because honestly, I thought it was going to be another one of those like $20 months, to be perfectly frank. But that is going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you are doing a low spend year, please pop down into the comments below and let us know how you're doing, and let's encourage each other down there. I would love to see a lot of that. And if you want to continue on this journey with me, please go ahead, like the video, subscribe. It really helps out, and I will see you the next time. Bye.